there'd be a rocking chair. So I'll have to improvise, okay? I'm J.J. Jones, and yes, I'm one of those old birds. More importantly, I'm one of the female old birds. So there. You ladies, you will understand this eventually one day. When Claude asked me to do this, she kind of hinted at the fact that, you know, one of the ones you're going to do or listen to is the letter to a young emergency manager. And I thought about it for a while, and I went, you know, that sounds like a good thing. So let's just take a little trip, and I'm going to read you the letter that I wish somebody had read to me. That's all I'm going to say. Wow, you've graduated. Think about that. You've arrived at your first job. You know how you know this? You've got a piece of paper in your hand that says, I'm an emergency manager coordinator. And the debt to go with it. Which is due in about 6 months. So what do you do now? Because, you know, you have been trained to be the next Craig Fugate. Or at least star in the role of Rock of San Andreas, the new movie out there. So now that you know you're the next great emergency management coordinator, you just need that position, right? Seriously, think about that. You're in Texas. Not just Texas, but the heart of where emergency management is. I mean, FEMA's here. FEMA Region 6. UNT is here. Hate to tell you this, but us old birds already have those positions. And now what? And some of us seriously talk things about planning, but more like battle rhythm? Come on. Okay, so what do? Well, you keep trying. You make those contacts like Perry was talking about. You go knock on doors. If you're not a member of an association like EMAT or IMES, you go do that. You make yourself a business card. You get your name on that card. If you're at these events, hand them out. And on the back of it, make sure you put on there, looking for a job. Why? It's easier to do it on a card than standing on a street corner. Just saying. So, what can you bring to the position? That's your most important trait. You're fresh out of college, you're just trying to get into it, maybe you've done an internship. The one thing that you can do is, what are your talents? Are you great on computers? Are you great at writing? Do you have people skills? Those are the things that you need to look for. Those are the things you need to bring forth and let everyone know, hey, I'm looking for a job, but this is why I can do this job for you. Guess what? You may not start out as the next great emergency management coordinator or director, but you got to start somewhere. Grant positions are great jobs. They tend to go away, but that is a prime example of exhibiting what you can actually do. Do that job greatly. Make sure you manage that budget on that. Why? You're going to do a budget eventually, so you might as well manage it there. Make sure that you put your stamp on it. But if you're going to put your stamp on it, it better have validity. So make sure that when you're doing that grant position job, that it's a great job to do. So who are those people that can help you? As I mentioned, go look at IMES, go look at EMAT. Hey, there's a fire department out there, go find out what they do exactly on the scene. Police department, the airport, schools, universities. There's a myriad of people out there that you need to make contact with, and you need to be able to say, hey, this is who I am and this is what I can offer. Find out what the Joint Commission means. Trust me, it's a powerful organization. And they have just created its own chapter. CMS, does anyone know what that means? It's called the Center for Medicare and Medicaid, and it actually pays bills for county hospitals, etc. I'm very familiar with that now. Wasn't before, am now. By the way, they're making it a mandate to have emergency management. Just saying, might want to check out the hospital arena. And in that internship, Hopefully, it was not an internship that said, hey, go do this inventory, go do this filing of a piece of paper, go do this, go do that. Oh, by the way, go fetch this. Hopefully, you learned something from that internship. Don't count on that as being your next great job. And by the way, just a little hint, how you played that fetching game tells us a lot about who you are personally. So sometimes there's some little tests in these instances that just make you want to say, well, I have an attitude about this. I'm more than this. By the way, I'm going to be the next great emergency manager. Check the attitude. Remember, don't piss anyone off. Just saying. One of the other things, maybe you are one of the lucky ones. You didn't have a problem getting a job. There are still landmines out there. Anybody found any of those yet? And people who have a goal in life, no matter what, of wanting to stab you in the back, no matter what you do. You're a nice person. You haven't done anything wrong. But there are people out there that are out for your job just because they can. Recognize it and continue doing an excellent job. Don't let them interfere with your personality and your values. There is always 3 envelopes that you need to have. And us old birds know about those envelopes. The first one you're going to have is for the first time you screw up. And in that envelope, you're going to blame your predecessor. Not a good idea in this environment. We're a small clique. When you burn your predecessor, just remember they're out there listening. What was that key word? Don't piss anyone off. You screw up again. Oh, this one's the good one. You've got to think real good on this one. So you start blaming your coworker. You blame management. You didn't have resources to do this job. Guess what? You better have the resources. You better make sure that you stop blaming others. Because if you don't, that third envelope you're going to have to do is when you fill it out for 3 other envelopes for your future replacement. Don't blame others. Stand up to what you did wrong. Take it. Say, I did wrong. And move on. And by the way, when you fail to do all of your jobs and you keep screwing up, guess what? What's the word again? You just piss someone off. All right, have a work ethic. Be on time, keep your word, help others. Don't be arrogant. Make sure you spell correctly and have proper grammar. And you're going, well, that's kind of weird. If you can't spell correctly, you're kind of looking like an, second grader. And if you don't use correct grammar, and let me give you an example of that. How many in here continually says, well, me and Joe go down to here, or me and Joe did this. There's a reason that that's wrong. It should be, you're last, they're first. What's the principle behind that? You need to put others first. You're not to be a doormat, and by the way, I buy those doormats at Walmart. And that's how you need to remember that. But you put others first. Just as Perry was talking about. Find out and listen in your community and put your community first. Once you start doing that, then guess what? Things become very much more easier for you. And you don't get in trouble as much. Don't lie. And just remember that sometime you're going to run into a boss that is basically a jackass. They're hard-headed. They won't listen to you. They don't accept new ideas. They think you're just this fresh little wet behind the ear person out there that just doesn't know anything. Deal with them. Make sure you stand up and teach them how to treat you. And if they continue to do this, guess what? Move on. Literally. Find a place where you're happy. If you're not happy in this business, doing what you exactly want to do, you're in the wrong business. Because nothing in life is going to make you happy, but you've got to be at peace with yourself. Always remember that someone in this arena is going to value your talents And there's also companies out there that will actually pay you with what you think you're worth. Just figure out what you're worth. Have a life, make room for you. Balance that life and make sure you have a partner. They have a large amount of understanding of this work. That partner has to understand what you are going up against. There will be days when you're gone, and not just a day, but several days. Make sure you contact them and make sure you assure them that you're okay, and ask them, more importantly, are they okay? Just because you happen to be a disaster junkie doesn't mean that they're a disaster junkie. They want a life. Kids don't understand why you have just missed their ball game once again. On the flip side of that, don't use your family just to get out of work. Balance your life. Take care of you. Have a hobby, because life is way too short. Make sure you live that dash. Never stop learning. Even a newbie can teach an old bird something. There's always something new and different, a new method, a new aid in your arsenal of tricks that you really need. Find out what the first responder does on the scene. Go out there and find out what it means to hook a hose to a hydrant. Find out why cops are the way they are. When you figure that one out, let me know. Just saying. How do banks do coups? How do hospitals write plans? Find out stuff. Find out something new. If you have to do underwater basket weaving, well, that's finding out something new. Lastly, and the most important aspect of this career, is not what you know, but as Perry evidently says over and over, it's who you know. Make contacts, have a business card if you don't have a position at the time. Make sure that you remember that as higher up the ladder that you go, as a professor of mine once said, the more of your, I'll say it my way, backside that you see. But just remember, as you go up that ladder, make sure you don't step on people's heads, don't step on people's positions or anything. Just don't step on people. Because when you come down that ladder, it's a lot harder to kiss their backside. And let me tell you something, crow is a nasty bird to eat. We may be old birds, but we still have plenty to offer and to learn from. Don't cop an attitude around us. You are only entitled to your next breath. And we can take it from you. Choose a noble mission. Stay on mission. Welcome to the field. Be safe and always play a good game of what if. Thanks for listening to my letter.